Every time you force control, your prefrontal cortex shuts down, flooding your blood with paralyzing cortisol. You think steering every variable is strength, but biologically, it is a trap. Surrender is the only neural design that restores command. You have spent years believing that mastery means tightening your grip. You plan your days. You anticipate the weather. You draft conversations before they happen. You rehearse outcomes you cannot guarantee. You tell yourself this is preparation. It is not. It is exhaustion wearing a mask of discipline. We will return to the exact moment the mask cracks, and what waits beneath it. But first, you must see the weight you are carrying. The mind that tries to hold everything together eventually breaks under its own architecture. Think of a dam built to stop a river. It holds for a season. It holds for a year. But water does not argue with stone. It simply finds the fault line. You are the stone. Your anxiety is the pressure. And the fault line is already forming. Why do you keep adding bricks? Because you were taught that uncertainty is an enemy to be conquered. You were taught that if you just calculate enough variables, you can outrun fate. But fate does not run. It walks. And it walks beside you. The ancient builders understood this. They did not fight the wind. They shaped their arches to meet it. They did not block the tide. They built channels to guide it. Your nervous system is no different. It was never meant to brace against the world. It was meant to move through it. Let us step back 2,000 years, into the quiet study of a man who held the heaviest crown in the known world. Marcus Aurelius did not rule an empire by forcing his will upon every province. He ruled by releasing what he could not hold. He wrote in the cold hours before dawn, not to plan campaigns, but to unclench his own mind. He faced plagues. He faced betrayals. He faced generals who defied his orders. And yet, he did not tighten his grip. He loosened it. He understood that command over external events is an illusion. But command over your own response is the only sovereignty that remains. When the frontier borders collapsed, he did not panic. He observed. He adjusted his stance. He accepted that the river would flood, and he learned to build boats instead of walls. You face a different kind of flood. Yours does not come from barbarian armies. It comes from inboxes that never empty. From notifications that demand your eyes. From schedules that treat your hours as currency. You believe you are navigating. In truth, you are drowning in data. We will come back to this distinction between navigating and drowning, because it is the exact pivot point of everything we will discuss. But notice how the ancient mind and the modern mind share the same flaw. Both try to hold water in their hands. Both close their fingers. Both watch the liquid slip away. And both blame the water for being wet. Why do you blame the river? Let us look at the architecture of your daily routine. You wake to a screen. You scroll through curated lives. You check metrics that measure your worth in numbers. You schedule meetings to align with expectations you did not choose. You optimize your sleep. You track your steps. You measure your output. You have turned your existence into a dashboard. And dashboards do not feel. They only report. You are not a machine to be calibrated. You are a living system. And living systems require space to breathe. They require the unknown to grow. When you remove all uncertainty, you remove the soil. Which path feels lighter to you right now? The one where you map every turn, or the one where you trust your own rhythm? Comment 1 for control, 2 for surrender, 3 for the middle road. Keep your answer in mind. It will matter when we reach the practice. Because practice is not theory. Practice is the moment your hand stops reaching for the brake. Now, let us bridge the abstract with the concrete. Consider the modern architect who designs buildings in earthquake zones. The old method was to make the structure rigid. Steel beams. Reinforced concrete. Maximum resistance. What happened during the Great Tremors? The rigid towers cracked. The inflexible foundations shattered. The new method is entirely different. Engineers now install base isolators. They build flexibility into the foundation. The building moves with the earth. It sways. It bends. It survives. You are that building. Your life is the tremor. Your insistence on rigidity is the flaw. When you stop trying to stop the shaking stops shaking you. This is not passivity. This is precision. This is the quiet intelligence of knowing which variables belong to you, and which belong to the wind. You cannot control the market. You cannot control the opinions of strangers. You cannot control the timing of your own aging. But you can control your posture when the news arrives. You can control your tone when the conflict rises. You can control the silence you leave between stimulus and reaction. Let us return to the moment we promised earlier. The mask cracks. The weight drops. What happens when you finally release the steering wheel? The road does not disappear. The car does not spin. The engine does not stall. You simply stop fighting the direction of the tires. You align with the curve instead of opposing it. This alignment is the only neural design that restores command. Your cortisol drops. Your prefrontal cortex re-engages. Your vision clears. You see the road. You see the sky. You see yourself. How do you practice this when the world demands urgency? You do not abandon responsibility. You abandon illusion. You separate the task from the tension. You complete the work without attaching your worth to the outcome. Here is the framework you will use this week. It is not a checklist. It is a posture. First, you identify the grip. When you feel the tightness in your jaw, the shallow breath, the racing thought, you name it. You say, I am trying to control what is not mine to hold. Second, you exhale. You let your shoulders drop. You imagine the weight transferring from your muscles into the floor. Third, you redirect. You focus only on the next honest action. Not the final result. The next step. The next word. The next choice. You will fail at this. You will grip again. You will plan again. You will panic again. That is not a sign of weakness. That is a sign of practice. The river does not judge the rock for blocking it. The water simply flows around, and over, and through. Each time you notice your hands closing, you are already opening. Awareness is the first release. What are you holding on to that is already gone? What conversation are you rehearsing that will never happen? What version of yourself are you trying to force into existence? You are exhausting your spirit to maintain a statue. And statues do not breathe. Let it crumble. Let the pieces fall. The quiet path is not about doing less. It is about carrying less. You can walk 100 miles with a light pack. You will break your back carrying 10 pounds of fear. This week, you will notice moments of unnecessary tension. You will feel the urge to fix, to manage, to predict. Do not suppress it. Observe it. Watch it like weather. Watch it like clouds passing over a mountain. You do not stop the wind. You let it pass. You do not need to conquer the storm to survive it. You only need to stop pretending you can. The moment you drop the illusion, the weight disappears. The moment you stop fighting the current becomes your ally. This is not weakness. This is the deepest form of strength. The kind that does not shout. The kind that simply stands. Remember the example with the senator who built walls instead of channels. Remember the architect who learned to bend. Remember the river that never argued with the stone. You are all of them. And you are none of them. You are simply here. Breathing. Observing. Choosing where to place your attention. The road ahead does not ask for your perfection. It only asks for your presence. If any of these ideas resonated, I've linked the books in the description. Put your hands down. Let the wheel rest. The road will carry you. You were never meant to drive it alone.